What's up, you guys? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So it's been a while since we've done an episode of this, and with Detroit Become Human coming along, as well as Shadow of the Colossus, I figured let's get back into stream of things with some LEGO Arts. So in the last episode, I did a showcase of my custom CW minifigures, so now I decided to show you guys a project that I've been working on for a little while. Around the same time I was working on Cuphead, and that's Kingdom Hearts Wave 4, aka Final Boss Xion. So as you can see, for the minifigure, we have Xion in like her standard form, that would later on evolve into the other forms. And then what I really wanted to show you was a Titan size of her final form. That I've been working on for a while. And I got finished with it. And I decided, let's finally do a showcase on this. So, as you guys know the drill, we're gonna go through this we're gonna go through these things one at a time, do some reviews, explain the whole process of things, and then we'll go from there. So, let's get the show on the road! So, to begin this video, let's look at the minifigure of the final Xion. Well, not final Xion, but I guess we would call this standard phase Xion. So, the head, as you can tell, is completely sculpted from clay. I had to look at a couple of photos to get the right angles. It was pretty hard making this minifigure because the photos I had to work with were all pixelated because they were taken from a DS. So to find an HD version of it was pretty hard, but I found some concept art of it, and that was much easier to work off of. So I was able to get all the painting right, the detailing. On the side, on her arms, these represent part of her gloves. They're not as metallic as they would originally be, but in order to make the minifigure, a minifigure, I had to come with some sacrifices. And down here at the legs some 3D element in the feet, and on the front here for where her pointy boots, which would be. The chest is actually a knight armor, a piece of some knight armor that I had lying around. I chose to go with this armor because I felt like it was more close to the jacket that she wears. While in this form. And on the back, this is supposed to represent. I was originally going to be aiming for where she could do access to her other forms, such as her first, second, and third forms. I was originally also going to make it the final form, but then as I got a closer look at the final form, I realized it's a completely different design. So, I would have to make some. Yeah, I couldn't go ahead with that there. I don't believe I can remove the head. No, I cannot. It's fused on there. But let's do a little comparison. So we'll sit you here and let's go get Xion. Because we already did this process with Roxas. Let's see what it looks like. Looks like with regular Xion, when she meets this thing. Okay, move my arms. Okay, here we go. So here we have normal Xion, and here we have final Xion. Obvious differences, and if this minifigure was an actual armor, I could see putting this thing on for her to wear. Yeah, oh dear, seem to have messed something up. Oh, don't worry, I'll fix it later. But in general, not really a whole lot to go on. I was originally gonna do the other forms, but none of them really came out right. So I couldn't get the swords correct, and I didn't know how to sculpt the Arabian swords, because again there weren't that many clear photos to tell me what exactly I needed to do, and neither were the wing packs. So I pretty much in general had nothing to go on, and it was a nightmare to get over. So I think I might go back to it eventually, but for now this is the final product, and honestly, this is actually pretty cool. I'm glad that I got to make this minifigure, but that's not the main one that we want to see. To wrap this video up, let's go on to the big one. And to wrap this video up, here's Final Boss Xion, or Titan Xion. And I definitely wanted to make this thing a giant figure in the game, really capture on of how big this thing was. I started constructing on this. Okay, and last time with Cuphead, we're gonna have to control the iPad a little bit. Okay, can I do this? Okay, Harold is the focus. Yeah, in general, okay, that looks good. Okay, we can use this as a starting point. But back when I made the devil, I also was working on this around the same time, and this is actually, like, the first minifigure I've combined, like, molding clay and cardboard. In the past, I've always used clay, but there were some elements, to this big fig, I guess I would call it, that clay couldn't work. Or, like, these parts here, I don't know what those are. The front of the jacket, obviously the swords, and the pack on the back. All of that is made of I cut those out of, like, pieces of cardboard. Then I covered them in masking tape to paint on them. And then this was kind of the tricky parts. I had to, like, place them in specific areas on the back, so that way the arms can move, and can still move without damaging the back. That was a little hard, but once I got that out of the way, the rest was pretty easy. Part of the helmet is made of, like, soft molding clay, like some old soft material that I had lying around to sort of, like, get the mold of things. And plus, I had to get rid of it. The front part of the helmet is like a separate piece entirely, and we don't care about you, go wait. And then, like, the rest of it, this was definitely sort of an ad by ad. Yeah, okay. First I gotta stabilize this thing. Okay, there we go. Her feet, it's like the front of her feet are also, like, soft clay. Because I found it much easier to sculpt. And to sculpt through and get onto the feet. The rest of it, it's from the photos that I was looking at. Again, it was a little bit harder, but easy because there was an HD version of this thing. No, finger, go away. I had to look at like some of the leg pieces. That was kind of the tricky parts, because some of the HD stuff, we mainly get her torso, or so, like a little bit of her legs. Thanks. But after getting a good photo of it, I took some parts from the old Hero Factory, like the earlier ones, back in 2012, 2013. Was that when Hero Factory came out? I don't remember when. But I took some spare parts of that. And did some trimming on, like, the chest piece here, and then painted on the armor legs here, and I even used the old feet, because I thought those were, like, some of the best feet for Hero Factory ever made. And the arms, okay, let's reposition of, like, what I had the camera before. What did I have you before? I think I had it like this. Okay, good, Harold. Harold, you are amazing. Because we need a good view of the arms. The arms are like 3 ball joints. So, like, ball joints obviously on the shoulders, ball joints to, like, represent the elbow, and then if I can, whoa, where are you going? Okay, if I can move here, yeah, ball joint a little bit on the wrist, not too much of it, but enough for where I could, like position it if I wanted to. This was also a little bit tricky, because there were no handles. These swords do not come with handles. Well, so what I did was I stuck in, like, some rods into the normal Lego hands. Like, if you can see that clearly, yeah. I stuck the rods in there as sort of like a way to help support of where the sword would be. And then once that was done, I then superglued them onto the hands, because the blades never really come off in general. And a little detailing thing I painted on the front of of course, the organization insignia, and painted around here of the torso, the torso. I found it like a metallic purple, so I went with some purple, slight detailing on the torso as well. That was pretty easy. I really had to do was just cut bits of it off. And all in all, this was actually pretty much one of my favorite buildable figures to make. I don't really do these kinds of things that often, because, like, getting the parts for them is pretty rare. is pretty hard for me, because, like, most of my buildable figures are already figures that I like. The rest of them are just, like, parts from others that I don't really enjoy anymore in the past. So then I decided to, like, recycle and reuse, I guess is what he would put it. And all in all, this figure was actually pretty fun to make. I think one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts buildable figures to make. So, this was pretty fun in general. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap up the video. And that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. Sorry if this one is shorter than most, because there really wasn't a lot to go on. Like, when just doing two figures, it really changes things. Like, if it was just one, it'd pretty much, the video would just be like a minute long, because there wouldn't be a lot to go on. So I tried to make as many minifigures as I can. But don't worry, next episode should be as long as most, because I'm going to be doing a showcase of something that you guys have been wanting me to see for a while. As usual, I'll leave a teaser at the end, and leave you guys to figure out on what it is. If you think you know the answer, comment below on what it is. I'm hoping to do, like, more Kingdom Hearts projects in the future, but if you guys want me to do more, feel free to comment on, like, which minifigures you want me to make, and I'll think about getting around to doing them. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share this to your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's the howl for the road. Ow! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time when the Ice Moon rises! Next time on LEGO Arts.